everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to episode 2 of Look Natural, my new series. And today's episode is going to be all about concealers and what my favourite concealers are, favourite brushes, favourite setting powders, etc. Anything to do with concealers and just natural finishes is what today's episode is going to be about, so stay tuned if you want to see that. I'm going to go through my top 5 concealers, my favourite concealer brushes, and also my favourite setting powder that I've found after so long. So I'm so excited to share this because it's just come a long way, you know. My concealer routine has really come a long way and I think I found my favourites and I'm going to share that with you guys. So first off, I'm going to start off with the cheapest concealer and then go through to the most expensive. The first one is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. This one's so accessible and everyone and their mums have tried this concealer. It's just everyone's go-to favourite. The concealer comes in at around $5.99 and it's available in most stores. Anywhere that sells makeup, I think, sells Maybelline Fit Me or just Maybelline in general. And I'm also in the shade 20. I think the main positive about this concealer is just how affordable it is and also how it doesn't just decrease the quality of the product just because it is affordable. It's still very breathable, very lightweight, and also it's got a decent amount of product. It just reminds me of the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, the packaging, and just, you know, it just reminds me of it, and it's just a great dupe for that. It's a different formula, it's a gel formula, so it does apply very nicely on the skin but still makes it breathable, which is lovely when you're going for that natural finish because you don't want to look cakey or look like you're really wearing anything on your face. So that's amazing for that. It's also fragrance free, so if you're allergic to any fragrances or your skin's quite sensitive to those, this does not contain that, so do give it a try and let me know what you think. Following on from the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer is actually one that I don't think many people have heard of, and I think it's quite new, and it's the Revlon Antioxidant Concealer. It's quite new, yeah, it's got new on it, so I don't know how many people have tried this. So this concealer is $6.99, again very affordable, but it is 10 milliliters compared to the Fit Me, which is 6 milliliters, so this has much more product in it than this one, and it's again very good, very good product. As you can see by the name Candid, it is aimed at the natural bare finish, so it does deliver in that aspect, and it's got a wand applicator that, you know, again, very easy to put on your face. With this concealer, it is very skincare focused. It's got antioxidant ingredients, it's got anti-pollution ingredients, and it's also got anti-blue light ingredients, so it's very skincare orientated, which I love. Again, I love when skincare and makeup come together, and I've never really seen that in a concealer. I rarely think, apart from like the Bare Minerals and all those brands, I don't really see concealers that have skincare in them, so this is quite refreshing seeing as it's also affordable. So I like to see brands that are affordable, you know, making better products for the skin. And this one is oil free, fragrance free, synthetics free, so it is slightly better for the skin than the Fit Me. One negative that I do have to say about this concealer though is that when I was choosing my shade range, I struggled because firstly it was all randomly assigned, secondly there wasn't really that many options, and there wasn't really a reference sheet to go by, so I kind of guessed, and luckily I landed on the right shade, which is 028. So if you're kind of struggling, just take that as reference. But luckily in some countries now the rules have been relaxed, so you can kind of go into stores now, you know, shade match and then buy online. So if you can, do that, because this concealer is not the easiest. The third concealer is one that is currently on offer, so I would highly emphasize you go and buy this concealer because I don't know how long it's going to be on offer for, and I think this is my favorite. It's my second favorite one out of all the concealers. It is the YSL Touche Clay Radiant Touch. Now, a very big misconception of this one is that this is a concealer when really it's a highlighter. It's a highlighter that it acts as a concealer, so it does still, you know, brighten up the under eye, but it doesn't do much coverage. They do have their own concealer in the makeup line, so do check that out if you're looking for more coverage. But you know me, I look more for highlighting, you know, emphasizing, so I chose this one instead, and it's just I love this so much, the applicator, just how, you know, it's just quick, light. It's currently £21, which is a very, very good price for a concealer. I think originally it's £28, but on the own website for the brand it's £21, and also Look Fantastic and very many other websites have it for £21 currently. So do go look and see if you can find your shade, because I can't emphasize, if you're looking for something lightweight, breathable, easy on the go, just blend it out with your fingers, this is so good. Oh my god. You can also like apply it anywhere on your face. It doesn't have to be under your eye. And with this, I don't really fear, you know, just doing the big triangle. Usually I avoid that because the concealers are quite thick and, you know, they just look really heavy on my face. But this one, I just like fearless. It's very, very sheer compared to all the other concealers that I've previously mentioned. It's just, again, a highlighter, so it's to brighten and not conceal. I've actually got this on my under eyes right now, and you can see that it looks very hydrated. My under eye looks super bright and it just looks natural still, so you can see for yourself how amazing it is. I'm also going to be uploading a makeup tutorial soon on my Instagram using this just in a regular normal look. And if you want to see how it looks natural wise, finish wise, coverage wise, do look out for that. In the YSL highlighter, I am in the shade 4.5, just for reference. The final two concealers are actually the same price, so I'm just going to choose at random which one I talk about next. I think I'm going to talk about the NARS, my little baby. I'm sure all of you are sick of seeing this concealer in my tutorials, and it's just, what can I say, it's one of my favorites. It is my favorite concealer that I own. It's the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. As you all see in my tutorials, I always use this concealer. It's one of my favorites. I just have positives to say about it. It's easy to blend, natural finish, very creamy, alcohol free, paraben free. I just could go on. Like, this is just the best concealer for me. I don't like to set this concealer because it is quite creamy, so I don't want to look ashy or anything like that, so I just let it do its own thing on my face. I don't really mind if it slips and slides, because that's just the whole experience of this concealer, because I feel like it's good at pretty much setting itself. It doesn't really need all of that extra powder, but if that's a bit of you, do you set your face, do anything you want, but for me, that's just not me. Apart from the powder I'm gonna mention at the end of the video. That powder has changed my life. It's also very buildable. You can either do it as a light concealer, or if you're really going for that full-on look, you can always go shades lighter on top of your natural shades, or you can also just apply loads more on. If your skin is very all over the place like mine, I can be really dry but still very oily, this is a good concealer to have because it's just adaptable and just suits every skin type. So it's a good all year round concealer. I'm tongue-tied. The final concealer is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away Liquid Concealer. I am in the shade 5.5. I don't know why it took me so long to find the shade on this. I should have just, you know, looked at the bottom, but oh well. It's got a different applicator, if I can open it. It does apply on the skin very naturally and very diffused because of the tip on the end. It's quite a spongy tip, so pros to that, it just gives it more flexibility around the rest of the face as well. If you've got a blemish, you can just use that to cover up because it gives quite soft edges, so you don't really have to do much. And it's a good travel tool as well because you can just apply it and also brush it out with the concealer brush. Again, I did struggle with the shade matching on this one. I can't actually remember why, but I remember struggling, if that makes sense. Now, just ranking all the concealers, I think from best to worst, it goes the NARS Radiant Creamy, and then the YSL Touche Clay, and then the Charlotte Tilbury, and then the Fit Me, and then the Revlon, just because of my experiences with it. I'm just thinking of when I'm doing my makeup, which ones do I grab for most, and it is in that order. So yeah, not that these are bad, just they're not higher than the other ones, but I still use these ones, just not as often, if that makes sense. Now for concealer brushes, these four are the ones I grab the most, and this one, as you can see, is my favorite. It's very well worn out and I had to order a new one because this is just embarrassing. This one is the Morphe M510 one. I think it's actually an eyeshadow brush, but I for some reason use it as a concealer. From my previous videos you can see why, because it just diffuses the concealer so nicely. So yeah, this one is my favorite. Then I'd have to say This one is the Sigma Bake Precision P89 brush. You can see by the shape of the brush that it's quite an angled flat brush, so I like to just use that under my eye just to press it in. And then this one is the Sigma 3D HD Precision brush. It kind of does the same as the P89 brush, but it just looks cooler, you know, it's just both angles of the brush are angled. So yeah, I just kind of go between both if I'm trying to go under my eye. Then the final one is a larger one if I'm just really flexible with the YSL, for example. It's the Sigma High Cheekbone Highlighter F03. So it's actually a highlighter brush, but I use it as a concealer brush just when I'm just like in a rush, you know, just trying to do my concealer, nothing too precise. So yeah, these are the 4 that I grab the most. Now for a new baby of mine, this is actually a new part of my routine that I never thought I would do or have. It's setting powders. Now, I never used to set my under eye, and I still really don't, but sometimes I do now when I'm going for that more polished look, just a nicer finish. I like to set it with a setting powder. It took me so long to find the right one because most of them are really cakey and just look really horrible on my skin, and I never find the right shades either. They just look really white. The one I have fallen for is the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil in the shade Original Mineral Veil. This is just like a universal powder of greatness, really. If you have dry under eyes like me sometimes, then you know that finding the right setting powder is very hard. This one is so fine and so, I don't know how it can be soft and nourishing. Not nourishing, it's very okay, it's soft and it's also not hydrating. It just doesn't make your under eye dry, you know. It just leaves it with a nice finish, very velvety under the eyes, and it doesn't look like anything on your skin. This one is just like the only powder I use. It's the only powder I own, and I have nothing but positive things to say about it. If you're like me and have not found a powder for you, or want to get into powdering but you're really scared like I was, then please do try the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil, because you will, I just want to know how everyone gets on with it, because it's just my favorite thing so far, and it's just like the most exciting thing I've found. So that concludes today's video on concealers and just natural finish concealers that I love to use. Do let me know if you buy any of them. I would love to see how you get on with it, and if any of them become your favorites like they're mine. So yeah, do tag me in your posts. If you do like this video, please do like, comment, and subscribe. I love seeing you guys' feedback, and it makes me feel so happy that some of you are really embracing yourselves and just, you know, empowering each other, just bringing each other up. And that's really what this series is about, just uplifting, just making ourselves feel better, and just recognizing our true beauty. I will see you guys again next week with a new video, and keep an eye out for hints on my Instagram, because I like to drop a few hints. So if you want to know ahead of time, do check that out.